Gill Conta, and I'll be your moderator this evening. The Rotary Club of Elliot Lake is very pleased to provide this community service to Elliot Lake again. This is the fourth or fifth time that we have hosted this particular event. So I would like to begin, first of all, if I could ask Mr. Ben Cutshaw from the Elliot Lake Food Bank to come forward, please, for a moment.
I won't take up much time, but on behalf of the Food Bank, I would like to sincerely thank you for your generosity this evening and throughout the year. Your help is sincerely and deeply appreciated, so God bless all of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'd like to get started with this evening, so what we'll do is I'd like to introduce the candidates this evening. I'll take a minute to run through some of the rules so you understand how the event will unfold this evening. So, as I can hopefully can call your name, and if you can acknowledge yourselves for the assembly. So we begin with Mr. Luke Sear, candidate for council. Sandy Pinamore, candidate for council. Mr. Roger Haché is unable to attend this evening, but he is a candidate for council. Unfortunately, Mr. Haché is unwell and is unable to attend this evening. Mr. Joseph Penwood. Mr. Greg Lawrence. Helen Lefebvre. Norman Mann. Luc Morissette. Chris Factory. James Possum. Ed Pierce. Geraldine Robinson. Mike Thomas. Tom Turner. And Tammy Bannerman. These are the individuals who are candidates for council. We have Mr. Jock Palmer Damon is a candidate for mayor that is not in attendance this evening. I'd like to introduce Mr. Dan Marchesella, who is going to attend. Okay, so we're going to begin the evening by the address by the candidates for council. They have 3 minutes to address the assembly. We will give them a warning at 2.5 minutes. So all 15 candidates will have an opportunity to present their platform to you this evening. We will then ask the mayor to address the assembly. Mayor candidates for mayor have 5 minutes. Once that's done, we will take a break. Then we'll come back for the second part of the evening with questions and answers. Right? So, without further ado, we will ask the candidates to address the assembly in alphabetical order. They already know that. Maybe we can give them a sound on the bell so they can hear what it sounds like. All right then. So without further ado, our first speaker this evening, Luke Sear.
Thank you et merci. Mon nom est Luc Sear, je me présente comme conseiller de ville pour Elliot Lake. Je demande votre confiance pour un autre terme de conseil d'Elliot Lake pour 4 autres années, pour faire représentation des francophones dans notre belle ville. Thank you. My name is Luke Sear. I am asking for another term to represent you, the citizens of Elliot Lake, for 4 more years. Where we were 4 years ago, it seemed like it was White Mountain versus Pearson Plaza. The plaza became a reality. It became a catalyst for economy. Once the plaza was born, Foodland, Library, Napa, Dollarama all came to be. The housing and commercial locations today are increasingly more difficult to find. So where we are today, Westview reconstruction and a 10-year plan for road work. Valley Crescent, Hemlock next, and Pine and Poplar to follow. Home and property values have rebounded, as have our population over the last couple of years. We've achieved the skate park and splash pad to finally give investments to our community for our children and for younger families to return. Samsung, a world-class company, has issued interest in working with Elliot Lake to help Elliot Lake become a smart city. This is not a small matter. We have to have confidence in our city with becoming a world-class example. We have a beautiful boardwalk now in place and an expansion soon coming, where we need to be. Jobs, small and medium-sized companies are the future of Elliot Lake. We need to make investments in our infrastructure to accommodate that, to encourage them to grow in our city. The community hub, we need to complete it, build it on the old mall site, where it can be serviced with all city buses easily to service the population of Elliot Lake. There, it can benefit the entire downtown corridor with increased parking, increased life into the streets of Ontario Avenue. The whole downtown benefits from this. We need more stores that actually listen to and cater to what the majority of Elliot Lake want, as far as what they sell and what they offer. The future RV industry, it's a $4.7 billion industry. We have the tourism infrastructure to enable it to happen in Elliot Lake, with trails, fishing, hunting. We need to continue maintaining low tax rates while delivering excellent dollar-for-dollar services. Fluoride, we can't forget it. It doesn't belong in our drinking water. We need more doctors, better health care, and increased accessibility in our city. We need to ensure that we look at a long-term vision while maintaining a watchful eye on present opportunities to better our city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next candidate for council, Sandy Bannerman.
Hello everybody, and thank you for coming. My name is Sandy Canora, and I've lived in Elliot Lake since 1979, when my husband David began his employment with Denison Mines as a miner. Together we've raised our 4 children here and cherish the time we get to spend with our 8 grandchildren. I currently work in the healthcare field, as does my husband. Since my arrival into the jewel in the wilderness, I've always been involved in the community, volunteering, mentoring, giving back. As a family, whether we are helping with the annual food drive, serving at the Alcolet Memorial Christmas dinner, playing cards, or out fishing, teaching our children that family comes first, and then community, has certainly given us all a very enriched life. As a director on LMOS for 6 years, I have a deeper understanding of what problems businesses face in this community. I've had the pleasure of seeing many success stories and even been part of regional economic development. Being chair of the Elliot Lake Nonprofit Housing Corporation has taught me that we need to work together to ensure we advocate for more low-income safe housing, as our waitlists are unacceptable. My involvement with the Social Wellness Committee, Algoma Public Health, the Women's Crisis Center, and through my various employments, I know that the vulnerable in our community need to be empowered to have a greater voice. We need to work even harder to get a handle on the mental health and addiction crisis happening in our country. Having been a volunteer with the Canadian Cancer Society for over 20 years has taught me that we need to continue to fight for better services for our northern communities, and that a huge start to this is to support the hospital's efforts to bring a CT scan and continue innovative healthcare recruitment. Less travel outside our community means more time for families and less of a financial and emotional strain. I am eager to learn, to take on new responsibilities, to always be approachable and available to have a conversation. I bring with me a positive outlook an ability to look at situations from all sides. It is imperative that for our community we grow to continue to establish great working relationships with not only our community partners, but our neighbors as well. We need to keep the momentum going in our talks with our First Nations. Regardless of the project, the relationship must come first. We need to work together to ensure we are ready for any future development. I will be accountable, transparent, and work with the Mayor and Council for the betterment of all. Once a vote is struck, it is my responsibility to work together to make all decisions successful ones. I will not make promises I can't keep, as I will be one voice, one vote, but I will do my research, bring my experiences, consult with you, and honestly carry your message and your vote and concerns forward. Webster's Dictionary says, definition of integrity: 1, firm adherence to a code of especially moral and artistic values, incorruptibility. 2, an unimpaired condition, soundness. 3, the quality or state of being, complete or undivided, completeness. Integrity is choosing your thoughts and actions based on values rather than personal gain. Doing the right thing, even then when no one was watching. This is what I'm promising to do with your vote. Thank you. Merci. Chinegwich.
I'd like to remind people that at the back there is seating at the front. Nobody likes to sit at the front, I understand that, but there are seats up here if you are looking to sit rather than stand. Our next speaker this evening is a candidate for council, Joseph Henry.
My name is Frederick Joseph Edward, and I'm running for council for the city of Elliot Lake. I have had extensive experience working in municipal, provincial, and federal activities that deal with youth, families, seniors, and the disabilities. Now, my main objective is to be a full-time counselor, striving to involve and make you aware of what is going on in the community and getting your input. I believe that many strides have been made with the last council, but it is time that we bring this community together. The spirit and morale must increase, and that means we must all work together. We must all have the same goals. And the only way we can do that is to communicate with the people of Elliot Lake. Now, some of my major things that I would like to do. Number one, tourism is very important to this community, and we need a plan, a very simple, concise plan that we can follow. Not something that's 20, 30, 40 pages, something that is maybe 2 or 3, which has goals that can be easily accomplished. Number 2, we need to do a 2-pronged study of the businesses and also the input from the community. What do we need? What do we lack? What can we do? How can we use it? These are just some of the major things that can be asked in this study. The big thing is we have to look at the past and look at what Elliot Lake was back in the 70s, the 80s. Then we have to look at it today, and we have to prepare for tomorrow. The one way we can do that is working together. Now, I can say this, that the major things that are important is you. I thank you for your time and have a good day.
Mr. Greg Lawrence, the next candidate for council.
Thanks to everyone for being here tonight. Your participation is an important part to keep our democracy vibrant. After 30 years in Ontario's public education system as a teacher and a vice principal, and 10 years as an investigator and mediator with the Ontario Human Rights Commission, I bring strong combination of skills and experience to the table. Since purchasing our home and moving here, I've been active in the city as a member and chair of both the Public Library Board, the North Channel Literacy Council. I'm on the board of Elliot Lake Pride, the Wildcats Hockey Club, education advisor to the players who are still in secondary school. I'm the executive director of the Northern Ontario Pride Network, an umbrella organization for pride committees throughout the North. I also operate a small business which rents space to an accounting firm and the law firm of my husband, Douglas Elliot. I want to thank and congratulate the candidates for their willingness to serve the people of Elliot Lake. We all want to make Elliot Lake a better place for our citizens to live, work, and play. What I offer is thoughtful experience to energize fresh perspectives and ideas. I want to promote a city where businesses are welcomed as important contributors. I want to keep our young people here and encourage them to raise their families following education and training, as well as to continue to attract retirees from Ontario and Canada. We can encourage the construction of single-level housing using new technologies and building techniques. We can market our beaches and proposed marina as safe, monitored spaces for recreation and have that message advertised nationally and internationally. We can make it attractive for developers to build short-term hotel accommodation. And along those lines, we can book tours, sports tournaments, and special events throughout the year without participants and fans having to travel up to an hour just to find a place to sleep. Most of all, I believe in building consensus through collaborative and cooperative discussion. We don't want more of the divisive conflicts we saw in the last council. We won't always agree, but we can make decisions in a respectful way for the advancement of our city. We talk about jobs, doctors, and roads. On these issues, we can do better, and we can make that happen. We need to set aside our egos and put our focus on what you, the people, are asking for and have been telling the representatives for years. There's a choice between those who are here to simply continue talking about the issues, when 4 years later we're at it again talking about the same issues, and those who want to start getting it done and making the changes. I want to put petty politics aside and be a part of a team that gets to work for the betterment of our community. On October 22nd are the advanced polls this week. I'm asking you to vote for me, Greg Lawrence, and together we'll continue the process to make a better future for Elliot Lake. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker this evening, Helen Lefebvre.
Bonjour, I'm Helen Lefebvre. I am the proud mother of 5 adult children with my partner Michelle. I'm fluent in English and French. I was raised in Elliot Lake, and I left at the age of 19 to attend university. I was in senior management in Toronto for over 25 years, working in very large computer systems. I worked at the expansion for the Toronto Airport for 6 years. This was the second largest construction project in Canadian history. I was responsible for over $80 million in budgets. I had over 1,000 people reporting to me directly or indirectly. I executed over 40 requests for proposals and awarded major contracts. I worked on the electronic health record across Canada for over 10 years, with government officials, the private sector, healthcare providers including hospitals, doctors, nurses, community care, First Nations, and more. Last summer, we chose to return to Elliot Lake after looking at different communities to be closer to my family, and we opened your dollar store with more in Paris Plaza. I get things done. I hit the ground running. My motto is under promise and over deliver. I'm honest. I'm a team player. I make all my decisions based on facts and deliver to the biggest benefits. Elliot Lake needs a strategic plan for the next 4 years. It prioritizes what's important for this community and a commitment to get it done. Elliot Lake is a very diverse community. People from all age groups are moving here, not just seniors. We need to continue to attract people and businesses to come here if we are to survive as a city. We need improvements to our health care. We need to focus on quality patient care and preventative measures that will improve our quality of life. We need a walk-in clinic. We need more healthcare professionals. We need to fix or replace our aging roads and our infrastructure. We need to build strong business cases that will attract businesses to come here. We need improvements to our bus system and our recycling program. Elliot Lake has such a beautiful waterfront. We must leverage this to attract more tourism and businesses to Elliot Lake. We need to help and support our residents. Our residents have amazing ideas on starting small businesses. We need to help and support our residents. We need to support our students so that they can work here and raise their families here. We need to build strong relationships with our governments. Southern Ontario thinks that Northern Ontario is anything north of Yonge and Bloor. And that's not a joke. We need to move on our relationship with our First Nation partners. Together, we will only be stronger and we will accomplish a lot more. I am running for City Council because I believe I can help our community to deliver on these key projects that need to get done. Elliot Lake is our home for many more years to come. It's been amazing to be back here. It's a beautiful community, and we are always overwhelmed by how giving the people in our community are. Everyone in this room has a voice. On October 22nd, please come out and vote. Thank you very much.
How's everybody doing? Getting close to the 7th inning stretch. Let's call upon Mr. Norman Mann, the next speaker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moderator, members of the Rotary Club of Elliot Lake, and fellow candidates. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Elliot Lake is my home, past, present, and future. My name is Norman Mann, and I'm not only asking for your continued support this evening, but more importantly, I'm again asking for your vote to re-elect me as City Councillor for the City of Elliot Lake. It's hard to believe I've had the privilege of standing before you on 2 separate occasions, and for that, I thank you. But that was then, and this is now, and I'm not taking anything for granted. Tonight you may hear about what is wrong in our community and how to fix it, but I'm about to take a different approach. You see, Elliot Lake is already a great community, and that's why each and every one of us are here. True, our reasons for being here are different, some economic, some for work, and even family, but we've all made that choice. And is Elliot Lake perfect? No community is. Our roads need repair, our facilities are aging, and the retail landscape is not what it once was. Having said that, one thing you realize once you're elected is change takes time. Sometimes a very painful amount of time. Another thing you realize as a councillor is you really can't promise anything specific. And why? Because I only have one vote. I'm a member of a 7-member team. No one individual has absolute authority to decide what will be done for the community. To go a step further, outside formal municipal meetings, I'm just Norm, CEO of Huron Lodge, a father, and Victoria's husband. And as Norman, I want to see Elliot Lake where my children can return after their post-secondary educations, find a career in their chosen field, and raise their own families. The next term of council, I will work with whomever is elected to ensure that property taxes remain fair for what you pay, that we actively enforce our bylaws and not just rely on our current complaint model. We continue to invest in our aging roads and trails, water and wastewater infrastructure, and our facilities. That we focus on more than just physician recruitment. It needs to include all healthcare professionals. Thank you. And most importantly, that council representation is for the entire community. On October 22nd, vote for Norman Mann. Thank you very much. Merci.
Okay, now we're halfway. Mr. Morissette, all set? Next candidate for council, Luc Morissette.
Good evening, everyone. I'm running for a seat on Elliot Lake City Council and would appreciate your support. I have shared in the ups and downs that have defined our community, boom to bust and back again. We should work together in building our future. I am a bilingual business owner, Alpine Flowers and Gifts, which was established in 1996, who appreciate the values of dedication, honesty, and integrity. An active community volunteer, I have helped with such events as the Santa Claus Parade in the early years, the street dance, the Alcolette Memorial Christmas Dinner, and the Children's Monopoly Tournament, just to name a few. I am a past member of the Elliot Lake Entertainment Series. I am currently involved with the Elliot Lake Amateur Theatre Ensemble. I was also a founding member of the Retailers Group following the Elbow Centre Mall tragedy. Let's talk economic development. Elliot Lake Retirement Living has been the economic engine driving our community. I feel that we, our new council, must search out and develop partnership that could lead to a second or third industry coming to Elliot Lake. We need to increase our tax base, but not our taxes. This can only be achieved through growth. As for the waterfront development filing this need, I'm afraid that without getting phase one hitting on all cylinders through our talks with the Waterfront Association and the dismantling of the urban surcharge, there can be no progress with phase two. Let's talk about the community hub. Can Elliot Lake really afford it? Numbers from 40 million to 60 million have been tossed about. Financing charges up to $1 million a year for 30 years have been expressed. Can we not look to alternative that might better serve the community and finances? We possess superior ice-making facilities, although aged at the Centennial Arena. Maybe a new Butler building is a start for the arena. A pool is needed for our town. These are alternatives in case the funding does not come through. The EDO office should be directed to explore and compare costs for each scenario. All municipality, including Elliot Lake, will be faced with continued downloading by senior government. We must find a solution concerning costs and the overall effect they'll be on our community. I know there are a lot of answered questions that will come forth, and I, in all likelihood, will have the answers for many. I promise to you that I will do my best to answer your questions through research and make informed decisions based on input from the community. We need to restore balance and find common ground on council. Let's work together. We all have an invested interest in this community. Elliot Lake needs to continue to grow so we can reap the fruits of our labor. We can't predict our future, but we can make smart and wise financial decisions that will keep Elliot Lake alive for many years. I know that you have a choice to make on October 22nd. Vote for Luke Morissette.
Next candidate for council, Mr. Chris Patrick.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming out this evening and showing your support for our community. I am here tonight to ask for your vote. As most of you know, I've been appointed to return back to council. During the short time that I've been back on council, I've had the opportunity to help accomplish quite a few initiatives. Some of the things that I've been working on successfully are healthcare initiatives, property standards, bylaw enforcement, landfill and recycling changes. We have hired a very competent CAO and are working diligently at keeping our taxation within reason. We don't need to raise taxes just to raise taxes. I will not make false promises like I will bring industry to town or I guarantee to lower taxes. However, I will work on and support any idea that is the possibility of bringing more jobs. I would like to thank the citizens that have come forward to me with their issues and concerns, allowing me the privilege of assisting them. We had a steady decline of compliments of how beautiful our city was. However, that has changed, and I am pleased that we are starting to hear these compliments about our community again. I would like to remind the citizens that if there is an issue or concern, we as your councillors can't repair it if we aren't aware of it. I am proud to say that I am an honest and professional councillor. I am 100% by the book and follow the procedural bylaw completely. I will not breach our code of conduct, nor will I break confidentiality. Therefore, if asked about items from closed sessions, I must rely on the fact that we all take an oath of office and cannot discuss some items privately or publicly, as it is against the law. I would like to assure you, the people of Elliot Lake, that I will work with integrity and objectivity. I would like to be your voice of reason and make sure that all aspects of an issue are investigated. I won't waste your money and will work to keep fiscal responsibility. I will do my best to keep your taxes low while working with staff to enhance services where possible. I ask you to do your homework and please look into candidates running to ensure that they are looking out for your best interests and not just making campaign promises. The only promise I make you is if you give me the honor of returning to council, I promise to serve the citizens of Elliot Lake to the best of my ability, and that is a promise I know I can keep. So I ask, when you go to the polls, vote for me, Chris Patrick. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that. All my quick notes, listed candidates, all these people that I don't know. Thanks. Our next candidate for council will be addressing the assembly this evening, Mr. James Pawson.
Hi there, folks. Yeah, I'm James Pawson. I was born and raised in the GTA, around the GTA. I spent most of my adult life traveling and studying. And I came to Elliot Lake immediately after finishing my last degree. I was a master's in philosophy. And when I was doing that, I was also simultaneously teaching a critical thinking course. I've helped hundreds of students hone their critical thinking skills. And I think I can really bring that to bear here, as a member of City Council. Because one thing's for sure, we need somebody who's pragmatic. Well, I'm not saying that our current councillors aren't, and that's been a shortcoming. But I'm the sort of person that can really evaluate the work and really evaluate people's thinking. And I think that's an important thing to do, because one thing's for sure, there have been mistakes made in the past. I'm not going to bring up any specific examples, but we all know that. I was at City Council meeting last night, and that's a phrase that comes up time and again. The mistakes were made. But anyways, I'm the sort of person that just by habit or for fun or just the way that I think, I'm a very analytical person. So let me give you a bit of a rundown of my analysis. I think, in order to really set priorities, you have to be a critical thinking person. Again, very logical. And this is the way that I see it. Obviously, we need more money coming into the community. That's a given. We all know that. Obviously, we need more doctors. We hear people talking about a walk-in clinic or improving services at the hospital. Sure, but how do you do that? Who's gonna work at a walk-in clinic? Who's gonna work at the hospital? We need doctors. We need to attract doctors. So now the next step in the analysis is, how do we attract those doctors? Well, it's funny because the question that I get asked all the time is, well, why did you come to Elliot Lake? So I, as an outsider, and it's interesting that I thought that I was going to be the newest person in Elliot Lake on City Council. That's not the case. But I've only been here for 3 years. You know, I've met some other people who have only been here 3 years, so themselves. And what attracted us to Elliot Lake, folks, it's the lifestyle. I came here because I wanted the Elliot Lake lifestyle. So we're kind of talking about marketing at that point, but if we can really sell the Elliot Lake lifestyle, and part of that is cottages or waterfront properties, keep those things affordable so that we're competitive compared to other parts of Ontario, like the Municipal and Alberta and so on. And that's how we can draw those people in. And we kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We have people with, you know, affluent professions, not just doctors, as Mr. Mann brought up. It's not just doctors. It's also like something that I talk about a lot as physiotherapy specialists. Bring these people in, affluent professions, that's money coming in, that's money being spent in the community, and they're improving the community because they're improving our healthcare services. So, by the way, I didn't write a speech. I like to talk off the cuff. I think fast and I talk fast. So, I think I'm probably a good person to have on City Council. I hope you'll agree with me. And anybody who has any questions later on, I really look forward to talking more. Thank you.
Everybody still doing okay? Yep. Our next speaker this evening, candidate for council, Mr. Ed Pierce.
Just want you to know it's one of the longest walks you'll ever take. My name is Ed Pierce and I'm running for council. I did not grow up in Elliot Lake. I chose Elliot Lake. It's my home, and I care very deeply about this community and the people who live here. That's why I've been actively involved and community volunteer and why I'm running for council. I was a founding member of the Economic Development Advisory Committee, and I played a major role in developing the economic development strategy for the city of Elliot Lake. I was instrumental in bringing the NWMO to the city and negotiated a deal with the province to take control of the Society Park. And now I can't get my speech apart. There you go. I sat as a member and later chaired the Residential Development Commission, working to reinvigorate our residential development program. And I currently sit on the board of Melnos, and I'm a member of the advisory board for PALS, which is an organization working with Indigenous youth. I believe it's important for a candidate to state his or her views so voters know where they stand on important issues. And I've stated my priorities very clearly, and will continue to do so. And they are. To restart the waterfront development program in full partnership with our First Nation neighbours. Council has taken some very important steps in this direction, but now we need to finalise how we're going to proceed to ensure that this vitally important economic program is once again providing jobs and economic growth for our community. Improve our roads and the infrastructure beneath the roads. We all know how bad our roads have become, but so are the water pipes, sewers, and storm drains. Like the Canadian Armed Forces, we're playing catch-up, caused by years of neglect and bad planning. We have a 10-year plan, but it's already 2 years behind times. We need it to be upgraded and, if possible, accelerated. We need to improve our transit system. This includes extending hours of operation during the week and adding Sunday bus service as soon as possible. It is, in my opinion, essential that the city take ownership of the former Alamo Mall site. If we're going to rejuvenate our downtown core, we need to have control over this property. We need to replace our deteriorating recreational facilities. The swimming pool and the arena are in a bad state of repair and require constant upkeep, costing many thousands of dollars per year. They need to be replaced, as does the curling club. Whether they are combined into a hub or developed separately, it needs to be done, and it needs to be done quickly. We need jobs. Jobs to keep our young people here and jobs to attract families. While the city can't start a factory or open a distribution center, we can make sure that we are attractive to companies looking for a well-trained and willing workforce in a climate that welcomes business. We need to reinstate the business incubator that was canceled by council while actively recruiting businesses in the same way that we recruit healthcare. Finally, we need a strong team on council. There's a lot that's been done over the last year, but there's still a lot to be done. And for that, we need a strong team that will work together to make important decisions to ensure that Elliot Lake moves forward as a prosperous and vibrant community that we can all be proud to call home. I want to be part of that team, and I ask for your support on October 22nd. Thank you. Merci.
Next candidate for council to address the assembly, Geraldine Robinson. Still like her notes. Geraldine Robinson.
Good evening, bonsoir. My name is Geraldine Robinson and I'm running for council. The roads in Elliot Lake are deplorable, and only 3% of the budget is allocated to roads. I've heard this comparison to other communities, but I live in Elliot Lake. I do not care about the roads in Sudbury or Timmins. The current practice of patching roads is not working. I do not want to see property taxes raised. One solution to pay for repairs is a land transfer tax that can be levied against the seller and the purchase, and all funds allocated to infrastructure. This is being currently done in Toronto. True, the councillor has a 10-year plan for road repair, which is already 1 year in arrears. At the last council meeting, the mayor suggested doing 2 phases in 1 year. If this can be done, why not reduce the plan to 5 years? In 10 years, some of the road potholes will be craters, and God help the people on the buses. I cannot imagine the condition of Spine Road would be in 10 years. Roads must be a priority. Road repair must be a priority. Elliot Lake can only prosper with the infusion of industry, retaining business, and bringing young families into the city. The city's assets must be aggressively marketed, not just as a retirement community. As Roger Hache proposed, why not install an incinerator at the dump? This would save millions, provide employment, and plus green grasses would only bring much needed revenue to the city. To attract tourists, there must be activities that entertain, such as a zip line, turning the Rangers cabin into a tea room, or pitching a tent in the vacant lot, giving tourists the experience of being early miners or prospectors. When I present possible ideas to attract industry, they are constantly dismissed. Why have these initiatives failed? Have other approaches been tried? The city must be open to new initiatives. The attitude of negativity and a myriad of excuses as to why Elliot Lake cannot compete must be replaced by a positive approach. As a former councillor, I was shocked to read the procedural bylaw that only 15 minutes are allowed for questions. To me, an open council does not limit questions. A council is only truly open when it constantly goes into session, which excludes the public. I have witnessed councillors interrupting people and not allowing them to finish their questions. I believe a person should be able to come to council, present their case without interruption. A former reeve of Beckwith Township, Stanley Brutton, who had been reeve for 30 years, stressed that any councillor who feels that their time is more valuable than the person that comes to council should not be on council. I certainly agree. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
They call it the jewel of the wilderness, where 60% of all of us have chosen to spend the best days of our lives. What I have and will continue to advocate for is taking care of the people that are here, while attempting to attract new people and new investment to our city. If you are faulting me for that, which some have, then I take full responsibility in weighing for it. I accept and appreciate everyone's voice in this conversation. A multiplex, a walk-in clinic, affordable housing, cannabis, economic growth, they're all on the ballot. I have made proposals to foster growth in all of these in my platform. I would rather try and fail than to sit here and watch the city do the same old same. The root of success begins with hope and optimism. It is easy to say no, this can't be done. The real work is in the commitment and the dedication of our leaders to work until the solution is achieved and we build the next adventure. 10, 20, 50, 100 jobs. We get them all one at a time with hard work and consensus. I will stick to my motto to do as much as I can, for as many as I can, for as long as I can. The challenges we face won't improve if we do nothing more than accept the status quo. We are in a position to make a difference, not just for retirees, but for everyone. My role has always been and continues to be one of advocacy. Some may see our differences as a marker of separation. I see our differences as individual viewpoints and endless opportunities to solve our problems. Together, we can all make it a difference in order to make Elliot Lake a better place and to keep it growing. One of the things that happened that made me decide to run for council is I've been an advocate for seniors and people with disabilities for 30 years. Like everyone in this room, I came here to rest and retire. When I got here, I saw the challenges that are here that all of us see every day. They've been mentioned already. I hope that on the 22nd that you will cast a vote for me so that I can spend the rest of my days working to that end. I'd like to thank my wife Victoria for her support. I'd like to thank the Rotary Club and volunteers who made all this possible tonight. And I'd especially like to thank all of you for attending tonight's presentation and for your commitment and participation in this election to ensure accessibility, accountability, and action. Thank you very much.
Good evening, and thank you for coming out tonight. My name is Tom Turner. I'm running for council, and I'm asking for your vote. During the past 24 years, I've continuously served on city advisory committees and working groups. I've participated in and often led community organizations and projects. Currently, I serve as the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I sit on the board of directors of a couple of other groups. I do these things because I have an unshakable belief in the future and the promise of Elliot Lake. This is the city we live in. I'll never quit on it, and I will do whatever I can to make it a better, more inclusive, more attractive, and more vibrant city for you and me to enjoy each and every day. I believe that if you live in a community, you should do what you can to help make it a better place to live. And I believe you can do even more as a member of council. I believe I can work collaboratively with others, and then I can contribute to a smooth running and sharply focused city council. There's so much to do, so much opportunity for us. So many things we could make better. As a member of council, I know I can help make those things happen. We talk about and have created endless studies about the need for another hotel, ways to attract tourists, industry, retailers, doctors, and government offices. Well, now's the time to stop talking. Start doing. The markets we want and are going, they're not coming to us. We need to dust off the studies, pack our bags, go out there, and take our city to the market. We need to tell the tourists we are here, and this is what we have. We need to sell light industry and retail chains on the benefits and the profit of operating in Elliot Lake. We can go to the market by attending tourism shows, industry conferences, trade shows. We need to do that now. And know we can succeed. At home, we have a need to care for our infrastructure. Roads, sewer, sidewalks, wear out, and we should be putting money aside to meet those needs. An infrastructure reserve fund is what we need, and we must ensure the money can't be used for anything else. Previous councils have been happy to raid reserve funds so they can brag about cutting taxes. You see the results. Other issues we need to move on. Get rid of fluoride. It's been identified as a neurotoxin. Work with District Services Board and create geared-to-income housing. Property standards need to be enforced. We need to make our city show its best face. I have the tenacity and patience and the ability to work with others on long-range goals. Our Elliot likes a continuing conversation. With your support, I can help keep that going. Thank you. I'm asking you to vote for the
next speaker this evening is candidate for council, Tammy Bannerman.
After my parents moved to Elliot Lake in 1995, myself, my grandmother, my brother, aunts, uncles, and cousins soon followed. My husband Eric and I have raised our two boys in this amazing community, and we want to see them remain and raise their own families here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tammy Bannerman, and I am seeking re-election. When I stood before you 4 years ago asking for your support, I stated that I didn't have all of the answers, and that I could make no promises save one, that I would work hard for you. I have kept that promise, and I have always taken my responsibility as a councillor very seriously. For right now, we have a number of unfinished projects that we cannot lose sight of. Most importantly, Phase 2 of the Cottage Lot program. This program has proven to be successful. It brought much needed employment, stimulated the economy for our local business, and increased our tax base. We need to have continued discussions concerning the recreation complex. We have applied for funding, but we have not discussed what to do with the former facilities, or what we will do if we are unsuccessful in obtaining funds. We need to plan for the future. The baby boomer population is going to reduce in the next 15 years. We need to plan for this and focus on population retention and growth for all ages. We need to make physician recruitment a priority, even if that means increasing funding to this initiative. We need to continue our efforts to attract a general merchandiser that fits the needs of our community. And we need to continue to be fiscally responsible in identifying and implementing the needs and wants of our community. Those of you who have followed me and watched council over this term know that I work hard, that I do my research, and that I do not make uninformed decisions. Why do I want to be re-elected? The answer is simple. I love Elliot Lake, and I'm proud of the accomplishments made by this council. We have seen growth. Property values has risen. The vacancy rate has reduced. We've seen beautification. We've seen new industry and new business. We began webcasting meetings. Investment readiness tools are at hand. The age-friendly initiative is underway. We saw the mall through to completion, resolved a number of legacy issues, installed a new splash pad, created new partnerships, we reintroduced the Affordable Access Program, we have improved our communications with ratepayers, we have created an infrastructure replacement plan, purchased new, more efficient buses, our reserves have grown, and our overall financial position has improved, plus much more. I have contributed in a positive way to see all of these important things happen, and I want to do more. On October 22nd, I'm asking for your continued support. Vote for Tammy Bannerman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The candidates for council. The next speaker this evening is we have one candidate for mayor, Mr. Dan Marchesella. I would remind the assembly, that mayor candidates for mayor have 5 minutes to speak. Okay. Candidates for mayor have 5 minutes to speak as opposed to 3 minutes, and we're not going to give Mr. Marchesella any more time since he's the only speaker. Mr. Dan Marchesella.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you to Rotary Club for setting up this evening. I'm going to start with a bunch of thank yous. Thank you to my wife, Misty, and my 2 children for putting up with the lack of seeing husband and dad so often in the last few years. Thank you to my father for being that stone for me in some of the adverse situations that I've faced in the last few years. Thank you to the candidates for putting your heart out on your sleeve for the community to see. This is a very difficult thing for us to do. Thank you to my current council. This last year has been a blast, and we've actually seen a lot of things to fruition, so thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm going to thank the staff, the city staff, because seriously, nothing would get done without the amazing staff we have in this community. We have some really great people that work really hard for our community. I want to thank all of you, too. Thank you for having faith in me 4 years ago and putting me where I am. Thank you for supporting me over the last 4 years. And for those that don't know me, my name is Dan Marchisello, Mayor of Elliot Lake, and a candidate for Mayor of Elliot Lake. Heard honesty is the only promise we can make, and that is absolutely true. I've tried to be honest with the community in the last 4 years, whether it's good news, bad news. I tell you how it is and tell you how we're going to try and fix it. I was born and raised in this beautiful community, and I've seen its ups and downs. I left for a period of 10 years to proudly serve my country with Canadian forces, followed by the Department of National Defence. And unfortunately, I returned just in time to see tragedy. Morale here was at its lowest, and the community felt broken. I've now had the honor of serving you, our residents, for the last 4 years, trying to pick up those pieces to see our little city become whole once again. 4 years ago, you voted for change, and change does take time. I won the fight against those who were stuck in the past and stuck in the realm of status quo, and moved to change the way our city conducts its business, bringing transparency through various media sources and technical upgrades at City Hall, increasing accountability by pushing for a code of conduct that ensures elected officials follow the rules. We are, by the way, public servants, and not above anybody else. We're here to listen to you, we're here to work for you. This was saddled with a now mandatory training for all elected officials. Anyone who gets voted in on October 22nd is now going to have to take the proper training. I've spent this last 4 years running properly scheduled office hours with an open door policy, so I am here for you when you need me. This has given me the ability to also meet with prospective investors and to be involved in the growth of our community. We have seen financial responsibility as this council paid off prior operational deficits and created strong reserves. The strongest financial position in over a decade, according to the auditors last year. This has given us the ability for long-term planning and also to achieve short-term goals as we've seen this year. We've begun to work on our long-term plans for revitalizing crumbling infrastructure and roads. And no more money towards shaded paves, it doesn't work. We have crumbling underground infrastructure. That is a priority over shaded paved. If we're going to do the job, do it right off the bat. We've also set forth plans for replacing decaying facilities that are now beyond useful life. The community is becoming cleaner in all senses, and homes are full again. We've started to update and revitalize some of our tourist destinations like the Trailhead, the Lookout Tower, and the Boat Launch Boardwalk. Now getting approvals from senior government means some jobs take more than 4 years, like our landfill and waste diversion plan, supporting our hospital revitalization, and 4 years of investigating and pushing the province for the community hub, health and active lifestyle center. And we must keep pushing these initiatives forward. We've also continued to push accessibility issues forward to meet the AODA standard timelines. And now we're offering incentives for the private sector to do the same. We know that the population is aging countrywide, and Elliot Lake must be the leader for accessibility. We've ensured to put dollars back towards recreation for our children and youth, making better parks and increasing activity for them to have safe places to play. This as well as continue to support arts and entertainment. We've begun to heal the wounds with our First Nations meeting. This was a hard one. Consultation is not okay. We are now partners for the future of cottage development, recreational land development, and possible green home initiatives, and tourism. A lot of things still in process. Wi-Fi expansion, Wi-Fi hotspots, CT scanner, the community hub, physician recruitment. We've come a long way, and I'm getting cut off, but what I'm going to say, a lot of things are on the go right now, and I'd love to keep working with the team for this. Status quo is still enough. Positive growth will continue, but only if we walk this path together. Thank you, merci, and good night.
Okay, that's great. We're actually ahead of schedule, so what we're going to do is we're going to take about a 15-20-minute break. We will reconvene at about 20 after 7 for the general question and answer period. And at that point, we'll address the assembly and let you know what the rules are insofar as asking questions. So we will be, the first part of the Q&A is for candidates for council only. Second half will be for questions to mayor of the candidates. Okay? I'd like to thank Nancy Wyman of Tim Hortons for their support, for the coffee and the canteen. Take a break, have a stretch. We'll see you in about 20 minutes. So, what we're going to do is the first part, the next part, pardon me, we have 45 minutes, a maximum of 45 minutes, set aside for questions to candidates for council. We have a separate section to address questions to the mayor, which will follow the first session. Okay? So what we'd ask you to do, is pretty straightforward, is that we'll give you a minute to ask your question. We're not looking for people to give us statements from the floor. We want you to ask a question. You can ask a question of any of the candidates for council. You have a minute to ask your question. We'll ask you to state your name and who you want your question to be addressed to. So in order to facilitate the evening, we're asking that you address one question to one candidate. So we're hoping to not have questions for all. So, for example, how do you feel about taxes? I'd like everybody to answer that question. Well, we'll be here for a very long time. So one question to one council, or one candidate for council, please. And we have microphones, 2 microphones set up in the main aisle, and they are monitored by a couple of cruising Rotarians there. Especially the guy at the very beginning at the front microphone. It's probably known to many people. He's pretty rough, but I'm sure he'll handle your questions. So, I guess without further ado, I guess what we'll do is anybody has a question, come up to the microphone, and we'll get started.
My name is Rick Montagani, and I'm a resident of Elliot Lake. And I've already asked a couple of the incumbent councillors about what their stand would be in regards to cannabis being legalized next week. The provinces allow municipalities to opt in or out. I would like to know what each candidate would say. Are you going to go in or out? Can I not direct it to everybody and just get an in-out answer from everybody? Okay. Raise a hand for those that would opt in. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rick Smith. I'm a recent retiree here in Elliot Lake. I've recently purchased a home on Roman Avenue. Very happy. Thank you very much. I spent 30 years in the mining business up in Red Lake, if you know where that is, and so I paid my dues in Northern Ontario. Ed, because you probably know what's going on in this town, what's with the zoning in the hotels? When I first started coming up here, there was one hotel. I had to go down the road to Joe's place there to get a reasonable rate. And there's no bed and breakfast. Is there a council zoning restriction against that, or is the Hilton got exclusivity in this town? I wish I knew. I couldn't agree with you more. We need another hotel here. It's not up to council to bring the hotel in. All
can do is try and make an environment where we can attract people who might be interested in putting up a hotel. But that's going to be up to whoever has got the money and is willing to do it. We will certainly facilitate, I think I can speak for everybody up on the stage, that we would facilitate anybody who's willing to put up a hotel.
Can I just get a supplement here? On my own private residence, is there going to be a problem for me to put up a bed and breakfast?
As far as I know, I don't think so, but you might want to ask Mr. Gagnon, who's sitting right down here.
My name is Tom Nichols, and I'd like to address my erstwhile friend, Ed Pierce. My question is in regards to cottage lot development phase 2. How can we proceed with phase 2 without success in phase 1? Now, the lots have been sold, the lots have been resold. But we have an unhappy association up there, and we have urban dwellers who are double taxed through the urban surcharge. Okay, so the question would be, how can we look at phase 2 without fixing phase 1?
I think there's a couple of key points here, Don. First of all, I think that phase 1 was a success. Is a success. I think that there's not an unhappy group of cottage lot, let's not use that, waterfront property owners on the lakes. The vast majority of them are quite happy out there and they enjoy it. My own view on it is that it's an extremely important economic driver for this community. The fact that we allowed it to lapse is a shame, and we've got to get it back up and running again. The way we do that is come up with a proper program with the First Nations, which we've already begun the process of, and hopefully we can get that all finalized very early in 2019.
Hi, my name is Donna Massey. I'm a 5-year-plus resident of Elliot Lake. This question is directed to Frederick Joe Henwood. I'd like to know, Joe, what do you have in mind for our community emergency preparedness program? We see emergencies and disasters all over the world. Are we prepared individually and as a community?
To me, emergency preparedness is very, very important. I was involved in scouting, and the motto is be prepared. I'm not saying that something is going to happen, but if it does happen, we must know the steps we are going to take. Now, down in southern Ontario, they had put together a booklet. Now, this booklet dealt with all emergencies that could happen in the community. Now, I lived very, very near a nuclear plant. And that booklet would be very, very useful here because it could deal with fire, it could deal with snow, it could deal with other situations that might arise. And by having something that readily available. Now, the other thing that I'm going to say, this year in Toronto, an apartment caught fire. 1,500 people were displaced. Now, if that was to happen here, what are we going to do? Who is going to take those people? And that's why I say that we must come together and put something together for our benefit and at least as a precaution.
Hi, my name is Susan, originally from Toronto, so I just wanted to say hello. And I think, though, I would ask Mr. Norman Mann to answer, if you would. Kashachewan, there are flooded areas, and the federal government promised money, and it hasn't happened. And as a city that's concerned about water and wastewater facilities, do you think, and if so, how, can we help those children who are looking to go to school? Currently, I think there's 400, and there's going to be 200 looking for a place to go. They're going to use the high school, but there's not enough space there. And I believe you talked about water and wastewater facilities here in Elliot Lake. And do you see that as going further as we continue to develop truth and reconciliation with First Nation people? I just want to give a let's do that. But please, have you had an opportunity to hear anything that we can do as a community?
Well, thank you for the question. Obviously, in my platform, I talked about water and wastewater, ensuring that our systems are sound, and we need to ensure that we don't have the continued breakage, and we continue to invest into our infrastructure. As for other communities and our Aboriginal partners in the north, I think we need to advocate with our provincial partners, our RPP, and as well the other ministries that we deal with, to ensure we need to have a plan in place in our community. And I think we need to talk about if we have opportunities to bring these individuals to our community to benefit them, whether it be short-term or long-term, while their communities are being rebuilt. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Colonel Robertson. We're recently new to Elliot Lake from Manitoba, and we moved here for retirement. This city is advertised across Canada as a retirement great place to live. My question is for Ms. Robinson and for several of the other councillors, but specifically for you, who kind of were negative towards retirement people. This is an 85% audience of people over the age of 60. And I wonder how any of you could be negative about retirement living and the idea of retired people being here.
Retirement living has sustained Elliot Lake. I agree with that. But for Elliot Lake to prosper, we need young people also. Because I am a member of the food bank, director of the food bank. I am a member of, I'm president of the hospital auxiliary, and all our members are getting older. And they're not getting replaced by younger people. So all of these, the food bank, the hospital auxiliary, if it does not get younger members, will not succeed. I have nothing against retirement living, but we need young people in this community. That's a fact.
Thank you. My name is Gladys Wiggins. I've been in Elliot Lake since 1957. I know I don't look that old, but my question concerns the fluoride in the waters. My son actually was an employee of the town several years ago and worked at the water treatment plant. I think fluoride is very harmful to our bodies, and I'd like to know if councillors are serious about having the fluoride removed. So I'm going to direct this to Luke Sear. Thank you.
Hi, Mrs. Wiggins. Thank you for the question. I think fluoride is an important topic. It's controversial, but most of the world has gotten rid of fluoride. And it's not only because of public pressure. It's because the scientists started, there hasn't been enough science to begin with at the beginning when fluoride was introduced in everybody's water supplies. It was just thrown in there. We're realizing that it's a neurotoxin affecting people's bodies. It's affecting especially seniors who are their skeletal issues, skeletal. It helps promote skeletal damage. It's time that we debate the issue. It's time that we stop postponing debating it and that we deal with it and either get rid of it or learn to live with it. But I want it out of my water. I shouldn't be forced to drink water with fluoride. If somebody wants fluoride, they can get that tube of Crest toothpaste any pharmacy, any grocery store. We shouldn't be forced to have fluoride in our water. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Helen Manley, and I've been in Elliot Lake for 4 years, but I really love Elliot Lake. I want to say that first. My question I'm going to direct, I would like to direct it to everybody, but I'll direct it to Helen Woodley. I want to know, my biggest thing is, I have taken the buses out here for 4 years, but in Toronto, where I came from for 62 years, I took the transit system. My parents didn't drive, my grandparents didn't drive. I think the buses here are good, and the bus drivers are great. But I would like to know on council, because so many people have cars here that they really have never ridden the buses in Elliot Lake, but a lot of people have opinions about the buses in Elliot Lake. I could honestly say they need improvement. The routes could use, especially that they changed the one on Slime Road, that there's nothing from the beginning to the end. And that is the roughest road in Elliot Lake, especially for seniors from both Washington, where I lived before I moved to Paris, and for the ones in Warsaw. My question is, what does council intend? We have no Sunday service, no holiday service. So the past weekend, Sunday and Monday, there were no buses. There was a study done last November the 17th, and it was done online, and I was a person that took it to Mark Rashawn's office and to the ELSS. Never heard any results from that study. People on the study said they wanted a Sunday service, at least from 9 till 2, and also November the 11th will be on a Sunday. And there would be no bus because it's a holiday. There's no buses on holidays or Sundays. There's no buses for people to go to recreational activities after 5:30, even on a Saturday night. If the buses stop, the last bus is 6 o'clock. So people that want to go have to pay a taxi to get back. I'd like to know what your views are on the buses.
Thank you. Is there a question?
Do about the buses.
Hi, Helen. I'm Helen. My views on buses, I totally agree with you. We are recruiting a lot of people that are coming from major cities that are completely reliant on public transportation. In our store, every day, we get seniors coming in. If they're lucky enough to take the bus to come to the store, it will take them an hour and a half to get home in Elliot Lake. If that does not sound ridiculous, I don't know what does. How many people are going to be trying to find a way home tonight because the bus stops running at 6 o'clock? People want to go to church on Sundays. People are going to do data analysis and say, well, we're offering a service, but nobody's using it. You need to make it user-friendly. The other feedback I hear from our community is our buses are dangerous. People fly off the seats. The people that are taking the buses are using strollers or wheelchairs. They're not allowed to take a grocery cart on. So I think we seriously need to take a look at what we're offering and make it user-friendly. The other comment I got is we have a junior A hockey team in Elliot Lake. Why are we not providing a shuttle service for people to support our hockey team. It's not hard things to do. I think Elliot Lake has a lot of good footprint. A lot of small changes will make it a lot better.
My name is David. I moved here 4 months ago. I'm interested in doing a lot of sporting activities. I've joined the hiking club. I've been to a meeting with the Broken Hills. But when I go on the town website to find out what's going on and what's available, the last post that I could find was on July 17th. I saw a sign at the Welcome Center saying that there was going to be badminton. And I went to the pool and they didn't know anything about it. I went to the Welcome Center. They sent me to the town office. I went to the town office and asked about it, and they said, no, I should go to the pool. I think there's very poor communication available for someone new to the place. There's also the things that happen, and there is notification, but you say the Collins Center, and I had no idea where the Collins Center was. There was no address included with it. So everybody that lives here for a while knows where these things are. But for new people, it's not easy. What could be done about having a notice board for the town for upcoming events and who to contact and get involved? It's just random. I have no idea who anyone is up there.
Who wants to take that?
Thank you for the question. It's a very important question, and our CAO is sitting in the second seat there. And I want you to know he has assured us that the website is going to be updated and made much more user-friendly. I brought a couple issues to him myself about trying to find things on the internet, like how do we recycle, what do we recycle, what actually is recycling, what's allowed to be recycled, and I agree with you totally. There is a lot of things going on in Elliot Lake. We just need to learn to communicate that better. I'm sorry you got the runaround from one place to the other. We are working on customer service, and we promise to make that a better service. We're going to start by actually making our messaging at City Hall in English and in French, so that our Francophone community can also understand what's going on. But I really appreciate your question, and other than saying we're getting better, please keep trying. Stick with us, because we're getting there.
I would just like to say, I've dealt with the federal and the provincial government. You guys don't know what runaround is.
Hello, this question is for, my name is Margaret Dean, first of all, and I was born a year after Gladys Wiggins arrived here, born and raised in Elliot Lake. Went away for my career and I came home to retire, and I absolutely love it here. And my question to our mayor, Dan Marchesella, I'm at the wrong.
Good evening. My name is Mary Hiley, and this here is for Ms. Finnemore. Now, you have just brought up about the communication being up to date on the website. Now, I have just finished doing 4 buildings in this city, which is 100 Warsaw, 66, 103 Washington. A lot of these people I have found out don't have computers or website. How do they get this information?
Thank you for the question. It's a good question. Through the mail, through the standard, we We do post things that go on page 2 of the standard. It's a standard city page that is always where you can find our events. We have guides that go out twice a year to your homes that list events that are updated every 6 months as to what's going on in the community. The Welcome Center always have a listing of ongoing events that they could call or drop by to see. There's always someone there that can answer a phone call and give them a message if they can't get out. But I could see how in the apartment buildings, if they have bulletin boards, maybe we could be sending flyers out to those that live in those buildings as to what's going on.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Olivia Andrew. I've lived here now in Elliot Lake for 3 years. When I first came up here, I was attracted by the advertisements for coming to live as retirement living. I have to say that I was very disappointed. Reason being, because I've got a lot of false answers for retirement living. There is no medical here. There's no doctors for a lot of people. We were told, I was told particularly, that yes, there's lots of doctors here. That transportation is wonderful. It's not. I took an apartment at 1 Washington Crescent. That building is falling apart. The elevators don't work. How are we going to get the seniors down from the 8th floor during an emergency? People can't put up railings on the curtain rods because it's 9-foot-high ceilings, and they're expected to do that on their own. Not only that, but they have to remove them when they move out. This is not really a retirement community. I mean, the roads are bad, people can't walk properly on them. So is there any way that we can get retirement living to be a little bit more honest when they're dealing with people when they come up here, looking for retirement? I now have my own home. I've moved out of that building and before it falls down, because they're going to. And, you know, I'm happy now, but I certainly wasn't when I came up here. Whoever wants to answer, I don't know any of you, so. Thank you.
I moved here a year ago, and I hear the same complaints constantly from seniors. I think the one thing that has to be done is I think it's time the council, the seniors, and Elliot Lake Retirement Living got together and started to openly and honestly discuss these situations that have been brought up tonight. And the reason I say this is that I don't want to see an emergency situation where someone gets hurt or something happens into a building, because I think that if that was to happen, I think you would see that Elliot Lake Retirement Living would run away to the nearest door and leave the city with the responsibility of dealing with that situation. And it would fall on the Chief Executive Officer. So what I say is, it's time that all three parties got together in a very natural setting with no yelling, no screaming, and finally just said, okay, let's come to a conclusion that would benefit everyone.
Hi, my name is Nadine McPherson.
I'm a newbie. I'm here to take care of my mom, and I'm running into lots of obstacles. Thank God I'm here because I can help her with them. But where I find a concern that could be beneficial to our community is a nurse practitioner that can go to the shut-ins. Because my mom, first of all, my mother's doctor is really hard to get into. Then when we get to the hospital, she's there for long hours, and because she's vulnerable already with her illnesses, she can be subjected to more illnesses. So every time we have to do it, we're scared to go to the hospital that she might get sicker. So I'm thinking a nurse practitioner that would be available to go in shut-ins could be very, very useful here. Save money. Yeah, okay, so I know a man is at the center, so maybe you can help with this one. Pardon?
It's about nurse practitioners and outreach to the community?
Yes.
You know, I think there's a couple of models that could be looked into. I know there's been a lot of talk this evening, and it's been going around during this election about a walk-in clinic. And there's actually been discussions already about walk-in clinics in Elliot Lake. I think there's a lot of information that needs to be understood by the community. It's a very, you know, the healthcare system is it's an interesting organization. Let's just leave it at that. Most of the agencies in Elliot Lake are funded by the Northeast LHIN. Physicians are funded out of the Ministry of Health directly in Toronto. So there's different levels that we need to all get together at the table to ensure. Are there better ways to provide service on an outreach basis? Perhaps. But I think as a community, hearing the information tonight, and we do actually currently have a physician recruitment committee. I always feel that it should be extended beyond physician recruitment to healthcare recruitment to ensure that we actually have additional allied health professionals in the community so that these situations don't exist. We have a meeting actually next week. We'll bring up your concerns and see what we can do. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Marie Murphy-Foran, and I have a question for Ed Pierce. It's concerning the Alba Mall property. As we all know, or should know, that the municipality cannot be in a position of setting up condominiums, hotels, or purchasing any of those things. What is your plan, or what do you see as a plan that something constructive can be done with that area in the downtown corridor? Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Let's start with the simple fact that we don't own the property. I believe we should own the property. How we go about doing that has yet to be decided. I think that's something that the council's going to have to work on going forward. In terms of plans for it, I think there's a lot of things that could go on that site. I think the hub would be an ideal thing to go on that site, but there will also leave room for other things that could be developed. I think it's big enough to accommodate retail stores, it's big enough to accommodate condominiums, and it certainly would be big enough to accommodate parking, which would greatly help the existing stores along Ontario Avenue and into the downtown core. The reason I'm being so hesitant is it's very difficult to answer this question in a public forum at the moment. We all know that something has to be done. We all feel very strongly that something can be done. We just haven't yet decided how we're going to do it. I would hope that however council is configured going forward, that a quick decision is made on that point. Thank you.
go.
My name is Avery Brew. I'm directing the next question to Geraldine because she spoke to it a bit before, but it's about young people. I'm just wondering, because you guys talk that we need to get more young people back into town, but growing up here, there's not much incentive to come back to town because there's not really anything to do as youth, which makes you kind of not like the town. And, for instance, the funnest thing to do in high school is hang out at Tim Hortons, and even that closes at 11 now. For instance, the splash pad, it does attract young families to come back, but what about young people who don't even want to have kids?
I was hoping that, if you build it, they will come. So, if we attract young people and we have a market, then there will be things for the young people because there is a market for them. Because if you have a demand, somebody will come and supply recreational facilities, bars, and I know young people like bars, and maybe a movie theater. I mean, I would appreciate a movie theater. So I'm just saying that if we can attract young people, they will force the activities will come with them. That's my hope. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Barry Hunter. I've been retired here for about 22 years now. I think I'm a relatively active senior, and I want to remain that way. So one topic that I hope would come up that I wouldn't have to speak to is the recreation hub, whatever you're calling it. I've been dismayed, though, at the council's apparent inability to make a decision on even site for it, being the existing arena site for the hub uptown the old mall site. I don't know who to direct this to in terms of where that project is at currently. Perhaps I should just ask for a show of hands who's in support on the stage tonight with moving ahead with that project and moving ahead with it quickly. Well, good luck.
Okay. Well, I would say that while we haven't used up the maximum amount of time, we seem to be running out of questions. If maybe we've got a couple more minutes. Any last questions for candidates for council? You want to step up now? And I'm going to wrap it up a little bit early, and then we'll move into questions for the mayor.
My name is Max and Elliot. I'm also going to studies right now, and this question is directed to Tammy Bannerman. Looking at your campaign, you talk about population growth and what was quickly discussed previously about if the youth want it, they'll build it. What about the people who, because there's not that many people our age in the early 20s, what are the steps being taken right now, or what steps would you take to bring in the youth out of the city into, so not technically recreational centers, but just incentives to come to the city?
Thank you, Max, for your question. I'm very glad you asked me this question in particular. When I moved to Elliot Lake, I was 23 years old. I had a two-week-old son and I had a 5-year-old son. What attracted me to Elliot Lake was this safe community. I moved here from Barrie. I found a needle in the playground outside where my children played. I don't have 2 minutes, so I'm not going to tell a long story, but I do believe that the ability to attract young families here begins with attracting young families who have a spouse that works out of town like I do. Living in a community with a spouse that works out of town that is safe, that I feel comfortable bringing my children out to play in, was a huge attractant for me to come here. That's one. And I do believe that we need to have more discussions about what to do for young families. This council has worked towards some more family-friendly activities, such as the splash pad, the boardwalk, fishing. We have some new playgrounds that have gone into place. We have a playground with autism equipment coming as well. I hope that answers your question. I was having a tough time hearing you.
I guess a bit less on the young families, more of just the younger population. So right now, being down south, there's a lot of opportunities to stay. But for someone who wants to possibly come back, all the options, what would you say just for an individual, not more of a family?
You know what, I'll tell you the good news. That's happening. I'm a real estate broker. I've been in real estate for 19 years. I've been selling real estate for 8. The last 4 or 5 years, the number of young families that were born in Elliot Lake that left, who are coming back to raise their families, has increased dramatically. That's all I can tell you. I can tell you that when I first moved here, I was born in tears. I felt like I committed social suicide. That's being completely honest. But I have seen great improvement, and it helps that there are more young people to socialize with now.
Hi, my name's Cherry Gunning, and I grew up in Elliot Lake, and we only hung out in the gravel pits. We didn't have a Tim Hortons. But I would like to, I've been trying to think of the right question, who to ask it to, so I would like to talk about what council is doing specifically for economic development, and you know, like not theoretical, like what are we doing, or how can we, what do we have to provide people, or do we have plans for that kind of thing? So I was, maybe Norm Mann could answer that question, and maybe somebody who's not on council too, I don't know.
Questions about what are we doing or have we done for economic development? Okay. I think over the last term of council we've done a lot of things. I think bringing back the economic development department with the municipality I think is one of the key things that we did do. That department has been extremely busy creating land use plans and mapping of the community to find out what space is available and ready to develop and available for sale. That process continues. We continue to speak to individuals and interested parties who want to come back. We try to be as reasonable and open about those when we can. Unfortunately, as previously indicated, there are things that are definitely in process that we can't talk about, but when things are announced, it's going to be great news for the community. We're in a good place right now. We have lots of things going, and it's an exciting time for the community, believe it or not. It might sound kind of pie in the sky, but honestly, it's the truth. A lot has been done over the last couple of years. There's a commitment with economic development with this council, and I can see that moving forward. Thank you.
So I think what we're going to do there, Scott, is we've got 2 more questions, so 2 gentlemen standing, and then we're going to wrap it up, please.
My name is Chuck Miles. This is for everybody in the room. Something to think about. I'm a veteran, like the mayor, and we're seeing democracy. And I would like to thank everybody up there and everybody in the room for making our service worthwhile.
is Carlson. This is directed to any of the current councillors, or I don't know, let's say Greg. I'm curious about residential and commercial garbage, recycling, compost. Is there a plan put in place, or is there something the council's trying to figure out, or is it recycling programs, whatnot?
Thanks, Jason. Your question is one that's been on my mind since I moved up here, and we're seeing the rollout of blue bins around town for residential and outside buildings, and for some plastic and paper recycling. That's improving. I think what we have to do now is build on that, make sure that the information gets out about what goes where and what we can take and what has to go that can be put into a recycling program. I know other places that have done it, rolled it out very slowly. You add things over time, you add materials over time as they become viable to sell to an agency or whatever. But it's a start right now that I see. I'd be prepared to continue with it, to push it through, to make sure that it expands, and that we actually get some really good recycling plans in action in Elliot Lake.
Hi, Laura Mackay. I just moved here from Toronto. I was wondering mostly about the green bin. Is there any way that we can have a green bin here for like composting and use it for dirt, like just to, I guess, reduce our garbage? I don't know, Greg, if you could answer that too.
Absolutely, that would be great. That's what I looked for when I first came up here as well. Problem was that the bins that are available, they may be raccoon-proof in Toronto, but they're not bear-proof up here. And it's a matter of getting the proper program in place. And I think there's been some talk about how to do it properly, but still, there's some infrastructure that has to go into that as well. But I agree, a recycling program would be nice, but we got to find a way to do it that's going to be effective and safe and keep the animals out.
Okay, well, I think what we'll do next is we're going to ask Mr. Marchisello to come to the podium, and you can have Adam for the next 2 minutes. So I believe that we'll set aside an appropriate amount of time. It's probably just more expedient that we just have Mr. Marchisello at the microphone.
You guys don't need to sit behind me here. There's front row seats. Come on. Line up here. Line up at the microphone. Your worship.
Elliot Lake is plagued by ineffective, inefficient, and councils just can't get it work. They have tunnel vision. You have a plan for urban health, community health. The council or prospective councilors have all expressed they support such a plan. And I don't necessarily disagree. But our focus seems to be on land we don't have, the old wall site, and land that we seem to turn a blind eye to, which is 108. I view 108 as the potential lifeblood for Elliot Lake. That's where retail should be. Ontario Street would be a great workflow, like in Toronto. Close it down to Western Mall and also grass out there. But 108 is where we should be looking, in my opinion. As the mayor, with your vision, where do you view 108 in the big picture?
Thank you, Mr. Nickel. Very good question. Highway 108 currently, as we mentioned, we do have a land profile out there. There's a lot of commercial slates in there, but they're actually running out. When we had the consultants come up, and we had multiple consultants come up, look at the feasibility of the placement of the community hub, we looked at initially 11 different sites. And I'm very fortunate. I've been taking the job as a full-time job, so I'm there all day long, and I've been involved in this process since day one. I've been able to get out with the consultants. We looked at 11 different sites. One of the prime sites would have been the MTO yard of the Public Works here on Highway 108, and we discussed that in depth. Unfortunately, the city actually doesn't own it. And the MTO gave a very, very, very hefty price tag to relocate them. Something to the tune of near $7 million to relocate them to another site. So that option kind of fell off the table. We looked at potentially where the Civic Center is right now, doing an attachment to the Civic Center. So we had a report, an engineering report that had a price tag of $4.5 million to level the area to be able to fit it there. So potentially we need 4.5 to 5 acres to fit this hub. There was nowhere on the corridor, including the former A&R site, that's large enough to house the project. I am of the belief that there is only one site that would benefit the community economically, and that is downtown. We cannot turn a blind eye to the businesses in the downtown core. We have to do stuff to help promote the businesses in the downtown core.
My name is Margaret Dean, and Mayor Marchesella. My question is about communication, transparency, and accountability. I guess because it was raining, I had nothing else to do. I got out my final tax bill and looked at the urban surcharge and went from there to look at the tax rate and then tried to understand where everyone was coming from in this urban, rural tax rate situation. Regarding information available and transparency and accountability, I went through Schedule A, Schedule B, and I asked 4 people that were up there for assistance in understanding it, and I did get one good answer. And I wondered if you could, like I do know that the city is having a new website, and I'm sure there'll be more room for the detailed answers, but I wondered if you could perhaps tell us how you think that situation might be solved. There are so many variables on both sides, urban and rural, or cottage lot development tax rates. And one suggestion was made by one person that we have the tax rates equal because you can't, it's so difficult to actually weigh what services are available to urban, what services are available to rural, and they're different. So it's hard to decide. So my question is, could you comment on how you think that should go or could go?
Thank you, Ms. Dean. talking about the urban surcharge, I wouldn't like the title of the surcharge is telling the truth. I think we need to revisit the whole situation and looking at that. Basically, what the urban surcharge is kind of a savings in one area that's distributed onto the in-town community. So we need to look more at a special area rate. Now I'm going to quote the Municipal Act. There has to be clear justification for a special area rate. So that's been the ongoing question. There's been some shifts in this number. So what the folks out in the waterfront community look at is they don't have the exact same services as in town. And so we need to look at some clear numbers. We've had Dr. Viner, our former treasurer, kind of give us a starting point on those numbers in defining what services are there. I've heard everything from, there should be a discount on fire, there should be a discount for busing, and so on and so forth. The reality is there's fire service out there. The reality is not all of us use the buses, but when you come in town, if you want to park your car, you can use the buses. That's part of being a community. I don't use the library on a regular basis, but it's part of my taxes. Not all of you have children in school, but it's part of your taxes. That's a part of being a community. Are you dating me back there? I'm going to answer. So we need to look at, okay, what is there missing out there? No, there's no curbside garbage pickup, and no, there's no street lights. Other than that, the road maintenance out there is actually an ongoing daily issue. We have snow plows in the wintertime that plow our streets here. Basically, we have a greater snow plow. That plow has to take care of the gravel roads out there. We have to buy a topping for it that keeps it hard. I think it's calcium topping that goes on the roads to lower the dust rate. So there is other expenses associated with that. So trying to figure out what that perfect ratio is a really, really tough game. And I think we've been getting closer and closer as years go by. And as was mentioned earlier, there's a plethora of people living out in the waterfront areas. And it's only really a small handful that is consistently coming requesting that we increase that urban surcharge, which lowers their taxation and raises the income. I'll say all the way around. There are a lot of brand new houses out there. And this is where some of the higher taxes come from. You're on the waterfront, you get up in the morning, you have your coffee, you walk out on your deck, and you have this beautiful view of the lake and the landscape from your fairly new home. Now she's shutting me up. You basically get what you pay for. Can there be more work? Yes. Should we call the urban surcharge? Absolutely not.
We've lived in the area for that period of time. And what I'm really a little upset about is the fact that you've taken away the spring cleanup for garbage. That was a big thing in earlier days. And it's, if you think about how does a senior get the yard cleaned up and get it out of there and go to the garbage stuff? You can't do it. I've tried. So, what can you do to remedy that? That is able to be used by everyone.
So, thank you for the question. I think we're hitting two areas here. We're hitting the old spring cleanup, and we're hitting our landfill issues also. And landfill and waste diversion was a big priority for council. And as one of the things that I mentioned, we can't get done in 4 years because we have been working on this for 4 years. We do have our Director of Public Works, Darrell, has done a lot of work and presented the council with a package of here's the future rollout of what our landfill site is going to look like. Nobody should have to drive into that mess. We all know that, and all of council has agreed on that. We need to see a staging area where you're able to get in. You're able to see clear recycling areas. You have somebody managing that area. You're able to see a reclaim section. You're able to see your mulching pits. It's a good idea that's all over the place. I was actually told by the Minister of the Environment 2 years ago that we have one of the worst landfill systems in the province. Literally. And I said, I know, we're waiting for you to give us permission to change that. And unfortunately, that's the way it works. And the gentleman mentioned earlier, you think you get a run around in a municipality. It's a lot harder when you look at senior levels of government and waiting for permission to do these things. And it's literally waiting for permission. So as far as I know, we do have permission. And as far as I know, our director has told us over the next 2 years we're going to see some of this initiative roll out to the point where we won't have to go over anything. As far as the curbside pickup, I don't think that had anything to do with the cost of actually doing the curbside pickup, and it's something that we can, as a council, revisit. Unfortunately, the reason why that went away was pointing out of huge liabilities, because you're allowed to put so much out, but people were literally, as they go through the garbage, picking stuff up, they're breaking glass. There's broken glass all over lawns, all over roads, kids playing in garbage. At one point, there was a bag of dead cats found in a garbage pile. A lot of ridiculous things. And so all it takes is a few people to really abuse the system before we have to sit back and go, wait a minute, we can't do this anymore. And it is something I'd like to revisit, but when you look at how it's been, we can't go back to the same way. Thank you so much. Is there any other questions? Maybe I go to.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. This is more to do with the education. I realize this is a place where people bring their children. They are very strong in their family values, and that's why I'm asking the question. As far as the sex ed curriculum goes, are we going to move forward with the changes that the Liberal government presented as a municipality? Do we agree with that? Or are we going to, here's my statement, protect the innocence of our children so that they don't have to deal with things that border on pornographic material? Thank you. That's my opinion.
Thank you for the question, Susan. Unfortunately, the city is not the school board. And the province is who determines how that's going to roll out along with the school board. So the municipality really, we can't take a strong position on this. I do know the Ford government reversed the whole sex ed plan back to the 90s version. And they have promised that they're going to contact all stakeholders, all school boards, and they're going to try and get input into how to roll out a new version of the sex ed plan. Apparently we're done. Thank you for coming.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you very much. We're going to wrap up early. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. It's on a very nice night. Be safe, drive carefully. Hope you enjoyed the evening. Remember, on October 22nd, exercise your civic responsibility and go out and vote for the candidate of your choice. Have a good night.
Unfortunately, the city is not the school board. And the province is who determines how that's going to roll out along with the school board. So the municipality really, we can't take a strong position on this. I do know the Ford government reversed the whole sex ed plan back to the 90s version. And they have promised that they're going to contact all stakeholders, all school boards, and they're going to try and get input into how to roll out a new version of the sex ed plan. Apparently we're done. Thank you for coming in.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to thank you very much. We're going to wrap up early. We'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. It's on a very nice night. Be safe, drive carefully. Hope you enjoyed the evening. Remember, on October 22nd, exercise your civic responsibility and go out and vote for the candidate of your choice. Have a good night.